So I've got a cool pedal to review for you in this video. It's the Blackstar Dept 10 Dual Distortion pedal. To me, this pedal looks like it's aimed at a metal sound, but I could be wrong because I've not used it yet. I personally bought this pedal for having a pedal that is simple to use at gigs where I can literally just plug in, play, and not have too many options at all. This is a valve pedal, which is cool, so that should give it an extra bit of warmth. I'm going to test this pedal in the environment that I would use it. So I don't use amps. I like my rigs to be as compact as possible, so I use modelers usually. So the way I would use this live is I would literally go into the pedal and straight into the PA amp. That's it, simple as that. The pedal has got two channels on it. You've got a clean channel, which can also be a crunch channel. So it's one channel with two modes. And then you've also got a driven channel as well. And you can have that with drive 1 or drive 2. And I'd imagine drive 2 has more distortion within it than drive 1. You can also, in theory, make this a 3-channel amp by not having any of the channels on, because this does also have cab emulation built into it. So you can plug in and it will still have that emulated cab sound coming out. There's 3 different options on the cab emulation on this switch. You can also go into the software. There is a piece of software and you can change the different cabs that are used and the mic types that are on it. I wouldn't do that personally. That's just for me. Because I don't like having too many options and I get option paralysis really bad. It's got one EQ that is catered to both of the channels. So all the channels, the same EQ applies, so it doesn't have separate EQs for each one. Some people would find that a drawback and others would just think it gives them less to have to think about. You've also got this ISF thing, which I've never really used these before, but it is exclusive to Blackstar. They developed it, I do believe. And from what I believe, all the way to the left gives you more of an American, like focused and tight sound. And all the way to the right gives you like a British, loose and woody sound. And anywhere in between, you can balance it between the two. Me personally, I would probably just leave it off, but I don't know. I'm going to play through this straight into Logic. I'm not going to play it into a cab or an amp because that's not how I play, and I feel like this is directed more towards being able to plug in and plug straight into a PA if you're using it live, or being able to plug in and plug straight into an interface if you're using it for recording. It can be used with amps as well, but I'm not going to test it that way. So let's get stuck in. I'm going to plug in, play with it, turn some knobs, see what you think, and then I'm going to tell you what I think at the end of doing that. I'm going to try it on both channels and with both modes on each channel. So there you have it. You've heard the pedal now. Before I mention what I feel the pros and the cons are, it's probably worth me mentioning what guitar I used to create those sounds on, as different guitars, different sounds. I used a Gibson Les Paul on it, and this Les Paul has a coil split on it as well, so that I can make the humbuckers into single coils. It's a very versatile guitar, so it should give a good representation of what it would kind of sound like with a classic kind of Les Paul's guitar and a Stratocaster or single coil guitar. So that's why I used that, and I was using the coil split in several times of playing. So the pedal, I think it's got a great sound. It is, in my opinion, directed 100% more towards the kind of metal market, like heavy market, because the clean channel is pretty much, it's kind of useless on it, in my opinion. It starts breaking up very, very quick. Kind of reminds me very much of a PV50 150 amp, as when I used to have one of them that did the same thing. Amazing metal sound, but you wouldn't have used it for clean sound. I did really like the second mode of the first channel, so the crunch channel, and the lead, the second channel sounded great for really heavy sounds and chugs, but it was also really good on both modes for lead playing as well. Like the distortion, like the notes did ring out, and I didn't find that like it was lacking within distortion. I like to use legato a lot, and it's really helpful when you've got that extra bit of distortion when you're playing legato, so that the notes all cut through and ring out. The valve, in my opinion, did make a big difference in the sound compared to other preamp pedals that I've used that aren't valved. It sounded less digital, even though I was using this as an interface, believe it or not. So you can use this as a recording interface as well, straight into the computer via the USB port in the back. Yeah, so yeah, it did have a cool little warmth to it from that valve, I feel. A couple of little drawbacks, nothing that would stop me from using it live though, or in a studio setting. The cab, when you switch between cabs, it's got a little noise, like a suction noise, like that it does every time you switch. However, I wouldn't, once I've picked the cab that I want, I would leave at that always. For me, I seemed to like the cab in the middle the most. I wouldn't be going on the software to change the cab and the mics and etc. I'd just use that. I don't want to give myself more options. The other thing that I feel, this is just a feature that I like on pedals, is that the pedals, it's nice that the pedals are metal studs, and the actual body, the chassis feels like it's metal as well. So it's like really good build quality. But the one thing that I do like on pedals is when it's got a click. This pedal, it might sound like it has, but it's not got an actual clicking feature like a latch. So this, you can push it all the way down and it kind of just changes, but it's not got that feel and sound to it with like a double click where you normally have to push slightly harder. I normally like that on pedals because it's a way of stopping yourself from accidentally pushing something. So that would be nice. Other than that, it's a great pedal. It's even got an effects send and return on it. So the question is it worth because I bought this on an impulse, and I also bought it with another Blackstar pedal. I bought it with the Blackstar Dept 10 dual drive pedal, which is a red pedal, which I will be doing a video on my channel, so just keep an eye out for that. The question is it worth the £200 that I paid for? And would I use it live or in the studio? It's definitely worth the money if you're factored towards the style that I feel it is directed at. So it's 100% worth the money for a metal musician, in my opinion. If you're kind of doing more like pop and funky stuff and soul stuff, it's not really what I would recommend to buy. but 100% if you're doing metal heavy stuff, buy this pedal. This is well worth the money. It's a good investment, and it's not a lot for what you get, and the fact that you get a power supply with it as well is great, and also that you can use it as a recording interface. Would I use this pedal live? The answer for me personally is no, because it's not a versatile enough pedal. If I was doing, again, if I was in a band that was purely doing heavy rock music or metal music, I would 100% use it live. However, the style of music that I play, because I'm a session player, I need to be as versatile as possible. I need to be able to play all different genres and sounds, and I don't feel like I would get all of those different genres and sounds from this one pedal. So I hope that helps you with your possible purchase of the pedal. In between time, keep an eye out for my video with regards to the other Blackstar Dept 10 pedal as well. Catch you soon.